This podcast is sponsored by Camera Museum of London and Tang Cigars at 44 Museum Street, London. Welcome to a Fish Out of Water podcast. This is your host, Richard Lipman. Today we are interviewing Nichole Kolman. This is part two of this podcast. Hello. Can you hear me, Nichole?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. I'm quickly going to go through some quick questions. One question is, do you think therapy or help or this kind
It's a scam. It's a scam.
Do you think it should be regulated? And how do you differ from,
That's an excellent question. Thank you for asking. I think therapy is already regulated, and that's why it's warped. First, let's go to the root of everything in the basic, energetic. Everything is energy. How can someone find a solution in the energy that created the problem? Meaning, when you go to a therapist, you have to, because they don't have insight into you, you have to go through the whole thing. You're now there. You're already, because you have this problem and you attract negative things, you already are not aligned in the energy that your body has come into. And I'm just going to, do it standard before I get into all the abbreviations of sexual different couples. When a woman is in her feminine energy predominantly, she doesn't take on burdens. She doesn't feel pressure. She doesn't hold back her feelings. She doesn't attract a man who she says her feelings to and is competitive with it, because his feminine feelings get hurt when she displays her feminine feelings about what she doesn't like with him. So he has a temper tantrum, because men who are dominated by their feminine energy, not creative types, but toxic types who don't do anything creative with it, and therefore they are immersed in their fields. They have no grounding, no logic, no business sense. So they'll stop and start, no confidence, can't handle, manage their money, can't get organized in life, have women come to them. They're very seductive. They're very playful, and they attract women who are locked in their mind and who fall prey to the romantic antics of all those kind of things. So getting back to the therapist put you in a category based on the results of your symptoms, not the root of your soul, which has to do with past lives. Now, here's where I differ. So just to make sure we recap, when a person's usually upset in their house, do you notice that when they go outside, go for a walk, or go somewhere else, they feel better? That's because they're out of the energy that created the shit. Okay. So my ability to go into your past lives helps me see the traits that you overdeveloped, overused, underused, abused, and whatever. So when a person comes to me and they tell her that she has ODC, elemental P, and all these things, and she has to have everything exact, and she is very anxiety and all that, the first thing I do is I can look at her face and understand she is very depleted in magnesium. And also, when this particular client came to me, she was also depleted in GABA. Now, GABA is it's a nervous regulator. It's a transmitter in the brain that helps your brain go back and forth nicely. When you have a lot of parasitical environment, due to candida, due to a lot of sugars or alcohol, whatever, and you have parasites, aka bugs, not just in your body, but they're in your brain, they like to chill on GABA, because GABA is a chill thing. So they eat up your GABA supply. So you're wired. Now, there's a lot of other factors. If people are on antidepressants, it screws up the lining of your, that is your second brain, because that's where your serotonin stash is. That's why it's a head-gut connection. It's your second brain. Antibiotics, the aluminum in that that screws up those things as well. There's a lot to do with that. Most of the people who are registered as clinically depressed and all that have had a lot of aluminum, a lot of antibiotics, a lot of that. And that messes with your gut. When you are disconnected from your gut, you are disconnected from yourself. It's like people who have a ton of fluoridation from mercury and fillings and water and all that shit. And that calcifies antibiotics, aluminum, antidepressants, calcify your third eye.
Are you suggesting that people get off those drugs?
I am suggesting you balance out the body that made you need it to begin with, so you don't need that. Now, if these chemicals, depression, I love where you're going with this. This is beautiful conversation. You're so good at what you do. If you look at the heavy base chemicals that the clinically depressed, suicidal people are on, why are they not happy? Because it's not a chemical imbalance. It's an energetic one. Because when you find the right thing, like you find the right love, all the fear you had and the mistrust, gone, because it's like you returned home of safety. So when you use the right, first of all, every single disease, and I mean every single disease, is a dis-ease of your body's energies, which means you're nutrient hello deficient. But there's another thing. And this is one of the things that I do with the clients that come to me. I scan their face, and I also tell them, especially those, because you can get a mini package, you can get one session, it depends what you want. It's all on my site, NicholeKolman.com with a K. Now, I ask them to include 3 body parts, injuries or conditions. So a guy might say, I'm bloated. A girl might say, I have alcoholism. Somebody might say they have diabetes. Somebody might say, I have joint problems. Every single one of those has been brought to birth by a consecutive,
There's a cat in the background.
I just want to make
Black
sure.
and white cat.
Here, baby, go ahead. Knock yourself out. By a consecutive 1 or 2 sentence thought. Let's address the cat in the room. So these health conditions come about by 1 to 2 sentences that are extremely negative, that you've heard since you were 8, that never left you, but you're not aware that it's still speaking that to you because it's in the subconscious. But what you are aware is the feeling that it gives you, because the feeling is an energy. So I'll give you an example. All the mothers that come to me, I know have thyroid issues, because either they talk about what's not going on in their life right, or they tell me I have a thyroid issue. All of them I've gotten rid of. With another girl, she was on an antidepressant, 2 kinds, which made her gain weight. And get this, a side effect, it can make you depressed. And her own father is calling her a zombie. After a week with me, I said to her, you need to go to the doctor. You need to get your liver enzymes checked, because your gallbladder is about to explode, but I didn't put it in that way. She goes back to the doctor, and doctor says, we have to get you right off these antidepressants. Her liver enzymes were through the roof, and 2 days later, her gallbladder exploded, and she almost died. And they ripped it out. But she wouldn't have known if I didn't say that to her. So the women that come to me with thyroid issues, they are the ones that are always saying these 2 things.
Can I quickly ask another question? And have you ever treated people who've committed serious crime like murder? and being able to you know look
Haven't
into that.
I don't think those ones hang around my channel. I've had severe alcoholic suicidal cases, but not people that would hurt another person. I don't know that I could take someone like that on, that I would want that
What about other sorts of
energy.
crime, like theft
Well,
or
I know, yeah, I know the licensed therapist was all about theft because right after she did what she did to me, her own cousin contacted me because she put me onto him for to help me with some technology. He said, just wondering, did so and so screw you out of some money? And, you know, because she damaged my property and then she left. And then, and then this person went on to do a smear campaign about me. So you, which really drew me into the spotlight.
I'm
So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, because all of a sudden people are hearing about me that never even heard about me, and everybody's wondering, oh, this really negative person, because she's saying, oh, she pretends to be a savior and a guru and a femme coach, and I'm like, look at my title. Hey, Oka, I'm a disruptor. I'm not here to
right,
rescue you. I'm not here to save
right,
you. I don't dim, I disrupt. So
okay.
it's dangerous to deal with psycho people. They are the most damaged people in psychosis. This is why they vicariously live through untangling your shit, feeling that keeps them avoiding handling their shit, so that they feel a sense of value without taking accountability for their shit.
That's interesting. 'Cause, have you met people like that?
Like this client that I just had, yeah.
Your book talks about spells and tarots. What do you mean by that?
Yes.
And also,
That's
I'm
one chapter.
assuming, just one thing, I'm
That's
assuming that's connected with very popular novels and series such as Twilight and the Vampire Diaries, at least within the Western world context.
Well, that's probably what started it off, but the way I utilize it in my book is the low frequency way that young girls and Gen Zs are getting pulled to doing spells in order to bring a guy to them,
What about,
which
so
is
that's
ridiculous.
relationships.
And
What a,
women and
yeah.
women are doing it also to hurt other people, to hurt other people, and to manipulate men and women and that. But see, what they're not understanding is that there's always a law of cause and effect. And when you are dealing with someone and you try to manipulate and destiny swap their life with yours, i've been I've had the experience of this kind of thing with this person. It gets very dark. And so it reached my heart. I see how many girls are buying spells and conjures and stuff like that when they don't understand that divine feminine light is a walking spell of of the most high and most powerful, not a mere mortal trickery. And good luck on wandering forever if he really loved you. Do you know what I mean? Because when you use it on another person to try to get them to do anything, you become more and more insecure and and more territorial. And then you got to do upgrade spells. And then, it's just ridiculous. And it's taking
but
girls away from their own sense of real power.
but does that work? Spells, magic, does it really work?
I think it influences energy, and it will affect people who are not aligned with their light. People who are depressed, people who drink a lot, people who do drugs a lot are in a dark place. your etheric shield that is around you is like flower petals that move out. So when you have your etheric shield that protects you from negative entities, it's like a tulip. And the people who have the biggest and strongest shields are athletes, celebrities, people who walk in the room with strong positive energy. Negative shit can't enter them, but the people who are depressed, it's like the petals folding in, or people that were sexually abused, they will also have entities attached to them. And it's really, really ugly. They are susceptible. They go to drugs. They're pulled to do bad things. It's not really them.
Who is it?
It's the energy that's living rent free in them.
This sounds
Because
like
when you're not solidified in who you are, you're empty. Anything can fill you up.
this sounds like Star Wars. You know, the dark side, and then the light
Yeah,
side,
yeah,
the
it's kind of like
Force.
that. But I mean, it's only one chapter of the book that the
I
book
see.
deals with the chat effects. The book deals with people being ghosted, with women exhausted, women building empires by day and abandoning themselves by night, not knowing how to turn off their mother energy. Then the men aren't attracted to them. Then they vacillate between detective and police energy, because when you're dealing with mother energy, mother doesn't trust, and she's dealing with someone that is irresponsible. And so she'll always double check on the guy, which ruins a man's sense of balls, sense of leadership. And so the weak attract the controllers, and then the women become so hardened they cannot be in feminine energy, because that's letting go of your brain navigating you through the corridors of hell and living a soft life of ease, which they wouldn't let go of their armor in case they get thrown into a battle zone again. But see, feminine energy doesn't predict and foresee battle zones, but women who live wired to their brains do, because again, the brain is wired to survive. So they take on a soldier mentality. Why do you think it takes them 10 years to leave a guy who cheated after 4 months? Because a soldier doesn't drop his gun when he gets one bullet wound. And he doesn't drop his gun and quit when he gets two bullet wounds. It's only when his eyes have blood coming out of them and he can't hold up his gun. So when the woman is completely spent, depleted, battered, taken advantage of, mistreated, does she give up and leave? But she felt too guilty because she's in a soldier mentality, not a woman mentality of I don't deserve to be treated this way, but a soldier mentality which needs battle to prove its value. She's not in a woman energy, she's in a soldier. So soldier has to rack up pain to show it can handle it. That's how it shows its value.
I've been looking at your books, including The Wisdom of the Penis. My impression is like a sketchbook, like an art sort of folio. So you open up the pages, and there's information and case studies about masculine, feminine energy, and you talk about toxic masculinity and male privilege. And is this connected with the incel culture? What do you mean by all those terms?
Actually, I use it in the opposite way. I show that it is not that toxic masculinity, it's a scam. Masculinity is not toxic. They want you to believe that because they want to make men soft so that they can be in their emotions, be depressed, and not be in charge of their emotions so they can lash out. That's toxic. The rapers, the beating up on women, you think that's a masculine? That's a femme guy. That's a man who's dominated by his emotions. He's not in control of his emotions. You say the bad word, he can throw you against the wall. That's not a masculine. A masculine is someone in control of his emotions. He's logical, he's refined. He understands the gentleness and the fragility of weaker sex than his, animals, children. He doesn't have a temper. He understands where to go to release toxic energies to not have a temper overspill on others
Where
innocently.
would they go to release toxic?
The gym, the gym. He builds a business. He goes off on his own. He does his man thing.
Okay.
But see, men that are usually emotionally triggered and snap like that usually have addictions like alcohol and other things. And the reason is because alcohol, drugs, and things like that, what it does is it makes him present. You see, a man who's drowning in his feminine energy is not that he wants to wear a dress necessarily. Feminine energy means he's drowning in emotion, not from today, from his past negative experiences, all of them flooding him at once. So when a woman says, "It bothered me when you didn't call me," what? Piece of shit now? What are you telling me? Garbage. He will go off on a vent because to him, he's being ridiculed by mom from a long time ago. He's back there in a male body as an adult with a little boy, helpless, uh, injured way of being energetically. A man is full grown. Masculine man is full grown. He understands to discuss things. He's not afraid to speak up to his woman and say, "I need to discuss this with you." Where a femme guy who is in need of her, not in love with her, would be afraid to be left alone and afraid something would change. So he holds back, holds back, holds back till he explodes. So masculinity is not toxic. A feminine woman, I have no problem allowing a man to lead, but I wouldn't pick an idiot who lead me. But a masculine energy women would, because they have to pick someone they're in control of so that they can smell the neediness of that guy, the clinginess, because that's their false sense of security. Because of their own nature as a woman, that is not, they are not, what? They are not secure. Get down.
I think the cat is also curious about the conversation.
Yeah, so it's just I don't talk about male privilege. I don't use the word privilege at all. I talk about how men, how society's trying to punish a man for low key stealing a woman's shine when he offers to help in the business or something like that. It's just when you read the whole book, it's very laid out. The problem is people are on a trajectory right now that they don't know is leading to a dark forest with no sustenance. So what I've done is I've just laid the map open. So all the things that they're saying that they have packaged as a negative, I'm showing it's really a positive. I'm unwrapping it and I'm showing what means what. Because if you don't do that, it just ends up being a blame game.
Okay, so it looks like that you're focused on relationships and you're extracting the hero, the hunter, and the prince, right? And that
I'm doing that in The Wisdom of the Penis, which was written a little while back, but in the Sacred and Feral as Fuck books, I'm extracting the simps from the real men, you know, the guys that bend over backwards and make women queasy because they're needy, and and the women that have to try to prove they're feminine, the women that have a sense of entitlement, but they're not bringing a sense of it. To say words that are not attached to a feeling, it's a bit challenging because when a man who's built his own business, is very established, meets a woman that he feels he trusts and safe with, that he loves her strength, not because she looks and acts like a tank. Her spiritual strength is what he loves because he knows he can shed his debris inside her for that. He knows he will be refreshed, and he knows his heart will be safe. Not a woman who's strong on the outside, showing control. His heart does not feel safe.
Mhm.
Do you see the dichotomy there?
Sure. Can you give us some examples? One example.
But example of per se, what exactly?
One example, in fact, of how your insight has
Oh,
helped someone
okay,
in
absolutely.
terms of
Yes.
the
Yeah.
relationship
Okay,
with
I got it.
another person.
All right. So a woman came to me very much in her masculine. She, like I said, she told me she had OSD, L1OP. I said, you can throw the alphabet out the window. Let's get to the root. And I went into her past life. She says, I always attract these guys, and it's like we're at a party, and he says, okay, let's go now. Let's not go. And then he doesn't really text her, and it's just when he wants, and all those kind of things. That's not really valued relationship.
Mm.
And I found out that, and she always has this very nervous energy around her. Everything again has to be perfect in places and stuff like that. And she always wore black and white and gray. I got her to wear color, which totally affected her energy. But what I found out with her is that she had many, many lives, not one, where she was actually a top um, a top closest to the king surgeon, many, many lives, not just one, where for her, any change in the room of the surgery, anything that went off for his royal family, and that head is gone. And so when she has it, and that's what she tracks a guy that changes plans, does it, and she's always like this, and she doesn't want. Once I said this to her, she had this biggest, like she just it's like she swallowed an elephant and just let it, like the elephant just came out of her nose, liquid form, because she looked like it's not that, oh, this makes sense here. It's like it matches inside. There was a remembering of a feeling like it's just too severe. She says, I feel like if I don't make this straight, something bad will happen to me. And it was bingo. And after I said this to her, and I also designed some exercises to do with her, I think we had like 3 sessions, things changed. She was lighter. She felt being more girly, less like a militant type of look. And she let go of that other guy, and she changed career path, and everything changed for her.
Nichole, how do you see this? How did you see her past life? Was it?
It's an a bit this is the process that it happens with me. You send me your picture, you send me your exact date of birth, and you send me a sentence or two of what you want to get rid of. And I sit with that for probably an hour and a half, and I write nonstop, and that's how it happens. I usually, if I was doing you, I'd probably have more than average of 10 pages. With you, probably be 15 to 18 pages. But with most people, it's probably 10 to 12 pages. Some people have 20 pages. And then, and I just start reading, and I also let them know what they came into this life with that's a weakness,
Mm.
and what's really on their mind right all the time that they don't even know they're thinking.
Mm.
When I tell them that first big thing, they're like, oh my God, that's always on my mind. I'm like, I know, now you know. So when you have a spotlight and you see what you're doing inside, it doesn't do you anymore. You start to
Mm.
change because you become the observer, and that you get less triggered, because people who get triggered become the pain, not the observer of this is painful, so I want to talk about it. So they can't talk about it. That's how it works with me. And it's bang on. I've had politicians, I've had celebrities, I've had many people, producers from LA actually. And although that producer, I had to let her go because she always came very vaped up. And I said, there's a fog between us. I can't work with that.
I see. Have you ever seen ghosts or spirits?
I don't see them, but I'm aware of where my dead people come with me. It's very clear. And when I've dealt with other people that had dead people, I had an ex once, and I saw things about his father and just put it this way, things came to my mind. I know it was when I was thinking about his father. I kind of saw it, and I heard something, and I said, "Oh, he proposed to your mother in Chile in a park where there was like this heart thing." Now his whole family said, "Oh, she's trying to manipulate you." Yeah, yeah. And he asked his mother, "Where did he propose to you?" "Oh, at a park." "Was there this big heart, like all these trees were designed like a heart?" And she says, "Yeah." Okay, so that blew that out of the water. So when I deal with people with dead people, I tell them exactly how to know when they are around. And they've had great relief. And sometimes I'll even do it with a stranger.
Who and what are your influences?
Can you put that in a different way?
Um, what inspires you? Do you read a lot of Eastern philosophy? Do you read
Oh, people say this all the time.
yes, what?
I've never read Eastern philosophies or religious books or spiritual books. But when I start speaking to people, the first thing they say to me is, "Oh, I've read a lot of spiritual books." "Oh, I've read none, but thanks for telling me." I do read the Bible, and what inspires me is people. I'll tell you why. Because when a person comes to me with an issue, their issue is a darkness, and it chisels my ability to extract that. It just happens. So it's kind of like if I was to be an investigator, um, then I would be really passionate about it, looking for clues in this and that. Because as a Heyoka empath, you talk to a person, and then you get this plop of picture or a sentence. And then you say it to them, and they go, "Oh my God, this just happened. That makes so much sense. It's clicking." It's that kind of a thing. It's very exciting. So the things that inspire me are animals, beauty in life, seeing real masculines, real feminine. I love training. I love elegance, but I don't spend a lot of time reading. I write rather than read. And I also I one or two clients of mine said,
4 minutes.
"I want to recommend this book." And I said, "But if I read it, it will influence me. And then how do I know what I'm writing is not tweaked with my universe?" So I don't do what most authors may do, read this, and then put it all together stuff.
What are your future plans, Nichole?
My future plans are the wisdom of the penis. I would love to do as a live show. I've got an idea for a reality show to take in top tier women that are in their hustle grind and teach them to receive. But the biggest, and of course, retreats, things like that, do a lot more ebooks and merch, put slogans because they're very. I was in Spain and I was with a cab driver, and I told him 5 slogans, and he said, "Wow." And he was an older guy. He was like tired, but he got
What
alive.
slogans? What slogans were they? Do you remember?
I won't be able to release them here. I did it with him because I knew I was never going to see him again, and it wouldn't go anywhere. But these slogans are they're infused with energy because they are an insight, and when you wear them, I mean, this one slogan I'm going to do for all the girls in between while they don't have a man, that's going to sell out. I can't wait to start that. So I am I am open and looking for a partnership with a man or a woman who has this vision and who wants to. I plan on doing a whole cultural shift movement, an energetic cultural shift of energy and its truth, where everybody's aligned. And the biggest thing out of that would be the mirror app, where it's going to show you how you're polarizing when you're not polarizing the right way, what you just said, how to unsay it, how to put it in the right way, what he did. You'd be able to put everything in. It's a tracker, it's a frequency enhancer, and it's there to, in other words, I'm not building anything uh, to teach. I'm building a frequency that people are misaligned from, where if we are all in it, we will not succumb to tyrannical behavior.
There is a slight tinge of some critics might say, Nichole, you're trying to form a cult or something. How do you respond to that?
Well, what would that cult be? What
if you were
one of them?
It's a frequency.
Okay, so a cult of frequency is like saying a cult of love through the dating apps.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. And I would rather have people get used to, because it's not about me teaching them. They're not going to remember it when they're triggered. They need something with them that will alter the frequency, not because it zaps them, because it's a truth that's being it's a truth that's being revealed to them.
All right. Thank you very much, Nichole. All the best. We look forward.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is sponsored by Camera Museum of London and Tang Cigars at 44 Museum Street, London. Thank you for listening to a Fish Out of Water podcast. This is your host, Richard Lipman. Should you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please get in touch.